Hello, everyone.
Welcome back to a new episode of Conversations with Friends. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's like the first time I see you and finally like also recording. So this is
I know, and we haven't talked before like a lot. So we're just like chatting it like through the podcast right now.
It's going to be authentic first reactions.
Yes, but we hope you're well. We hope you're doing well. Theresa and I have been having lots going on in our lives. So we thought maybe we'd do an episode about like just a general life update. Mm-hmm. But yeah, before we go further into that, as always, we cover our gems of the week. Theresa, could you have on us?
What was my gem of the week again? Oh yeah, so I can't remember if last time it was a podcast as well, but this time it's a podcast again. I've just been traveling a lot, or like been sitting at airports a lot and train stations and stuff. So I needed something to listen to. Mm-hmm. And a friend of mine has recommended me a podcast called Diary of a CEO.
I know that podcast.
Yeah, it's pretty popular. It's like apparently one of the most popular, at least British podcasts, and I've never heard of it before. And then when she told me immediately, I was like, oh, Diary of a CEO, like I don't want to learn about startups. But it's by Stephen Bartlett, and it's more like an interview podcast where he gets people on and like talks about different topics. Like he had Macy Williams on, he had Lucy Hale on, like he has actresses on, dietitians, scientists, like different kind of people, and really gets to like get to know the person, and also like either talks about their childhood or like what makes them who they are today. And I really like his voice. First of all, he's really
very
relaxing.
Calming.
Yeah, it's very relaxing to listen to, but then also I think he asks good questions, and I don't know, I feel like it's a very intimate space you're entering through the podcast, and I just really I think it's just a really good podcast. So I've literally like discovered it like 3 days ago, and I've already listened to 6 episodes because I had so much time to kill as well.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I feel like I've been really liking it this week.
But do you just like listen to them and do nothing else whilst listening, or do you do something else?
Well, normally I go for walks and stuff while listening to podcasts, or like I do cooking or like random stuff. But because I was at the airport and I was on the plane at the airport or the plane, different story we can get into. But the train was striking in Paris. I had to take a plane. I had to sleep at the airport. So
you didn't even sleep, did you?
No, that's why. And then I was like, maybe a podcast will make me fall asleep. But then I was actually so intrigued in the conversation that I didn't. I mean, I also probably wouldn't have slept in general because I was laying on the ground. But I was listening to it while I was at the airport and also while I was in the plane. And I tried to sleep, but yeah, his conversations were so interesting that I was like, actually, I might just stay awake. So that's why I was listening to so many. And then from the airport to my house in Berlin, it also takes a long time by the FEX, like the train. So then I need to have something to listen to. So I was basically very aware while I was listening to those episodes. But normally when I listen to podcasts, I go for walks or do something on the side.
Nice.
So yeah. What's your jam?
So anyways, I don't know if you're watching this on Spotify as well, you can see that we changed background. But yeah, I moved apartments a week ago now. And so I'd say my new apartment's my gem of the week. But yeah, it's been a little bit not like stressful. Yes, the move wasn't too stressful because I had heaps of help, but it's just, I feel like just going into a new space, decorating it and like getting new stuff, and then just kind of, I don't know, organizing everything can be a bit stressful, and it's like when you have other stuff to do as well. But yeah, I'd say it's my gem of the week. I really like it. It's just, it feels so good nice to have just a space of your own, you know?
Yeah.
And you like your space, your stuff, and you can just come home and be by yourself sometimes, which feels really good.
It's also funny because it's literally like above our friends.
Like it's the funniest story ever. So basically, there's this thing in Berlin, or I think it's in like Germany wide. This app, it's called like Swap Apartments in like a German, like translated. But and I was like, because I had to move out the bigger apartment, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna, just for fun, see and put up the apartment just to, see if there's anything I like, or I don't know if there's any messages I get. And then legit on the first day I get like 15 messages from people. It's crazy, and I was like, in Berlin. Oh my God, so desperate. Everyone's so desperate.
And you had a nice apartment before.
Yeah, and I was like,
it was a good area.
And then like a week after I put it up like for the first time, I look at it and this person messaged me and I'm like, oh, like, let me just see where this is. It's a nice apartment. And I was like, oh my God, it's like in my friend's street. Yeah. Like where the two girls that, but yes, anyways. And I was like, oh my God, this is like so funny. And then the same night I actually went to their house and then I showed it to them and they were like, wait a minute. Because they looked out the picture out the window. Yeah. And then one of them was like, oh my God, this is like the back of the house. This is the same view I have as well. Yeah. And I was like, what? And then like,
is it our apartment?
It turns out that it was the apartment above them. Yeah. And yeah.
So crazy.
And now here we are.
It's such a coincidence because Berlin is so massive.
And like how many apartments are there in Berlin? Like
and you just
so
get
many
the one
different
above your best friends. Like,
and I was like, I think from the beginning on, it was like meant to be. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know. I had like this feeling and I was like, yes. And then everything went well and I moved in last week.
Yeah, it's so crazy because it's like I've always known you in that other apartment and then coming to this apartment and walking past a friend's apartment. I was like,
so strange.
Okay, you're all like now in the same area and I'm just in a different area and you can all just hang out together.
That was literally me before though. It was like taking me ages to go anywhere to like my friends' places and I was always traveling so far. So it feels good to
now you just have to walk like 1 minute downstairs.
Yeah, not even.
It's
20
like
seconds.
It's crazy. But I really like it as well. It's like feels very homey and like I think you have good lighting and I mean we're back on the ground again.
I guess, yeah.
But I think also like the fact that you moved in last week, it's pretty like you decorated already and have all like the little details. I guess because you had it before as well. But
yeah, no, that was the easy part. Like I had stuff before as well. But what kind of was a bit stressful is that the guy that was living here before, he only picked up his stuff from the attic like on Wednesday. So everything that I didn't want in here was out in the hallway. And it was just like freaking me out every time I was coming home and I was like, stressful. Oh my God, don't even look. And I was like, everything was in here as well. And I was like, oh my God, you know, it just gives you anxiety. Like, I don't know, oh my God, it's moving in anxiety. But yeah, actually before you came this morning, I put everything up in the attic and I was like, yeah, I'm just going to, you know,
you're like, I'm just gonna, it's like hiding everything under your bed. You're like, if it's out of my sight, it's not there.
Yeah, out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess it's like you were working as well. And I think moving is pretty stressful. Like, I think I love the idea of moving. I'm always like, I want to move. I want to decorate it nicely. No, it's so much stress.
It's like, so fucking annoying. And I'm like, I was like so tired on Sunday. And then the first night I didn't sleep really well and like in the like not in it was not the apartment's fault. It was my fault because the next morning like I woke up with like the worst cold. I was so sick. And then I also got my period and I was like, oh my God.
Not a good omen.
Like I wanted to do everything, you know, to like tidy up and stuff, but I could not do shit because I was like cramping so badly. I had the worst cold ever and I was like, I need to rest. But then one of our friends, Clara, she came upstairs like because she went to this like nail event and she brought home like manicure stuff. So I did my nails. We were just chatting on the bed.
Oh, that's so cute.
And then we went to the mall and then to Schönhauser after.
Let's go to the mall. It's such a girl's thing. I'm going to do manicure and then I'm going to go to the mall.
Yeah, I failed the manicure a little bit because like I don't know. It's like this is my normal nail polish.
I was like, okay,
because the nail polish it was like shellac or whatever you call it. And because she forgot the top coat at the event, so I did it without a top coat, and then it started peeling off, and I just could like peel my nails.
Oh my God,
off.
Yeah, no, that
it was really satisfying, but I was like, oh, this was for nothing because like I peeled it off the next day.
I guess it was like a self-care thing to do, just take care of your nails.
Yeah, just chatting, putting nail polish on, but then I had to like paint them. Like I literally don't have any nail polish except black.
I know. I was like, you always have black nail polish. Always. It's just like your personality. I mean, I never wear nail polish because it just goes off after one day and then I have like this like bitten off looking nails.
Yeah, no, it's the grungy look.
So I don't even bother like making them look cute anymore.
No, but yeah, I'm sort of like slowly settling in, like thinking about the stuff I want to get. And then, yeah, it's just, I still have the box there. Like
we're just going to ignore that. Like, it's not there.
Not seeing that. And also the kitchen, which still needs some fixing, but I have
really nice though.
I have a dishwasher now.
It's so unfair
I'm
because
not
you
a
live alone
dishwasher
and you have a
virgin.
dishwasher. Like, why?
It was the dude before me who put it in, and I was like,
yeah,
well,
he knows what's up. He's like, I don't want to do it.
But yeah, anyways, I'm not a dishwasher virgin anymore. So
I'm just gonna come to yours, just like wash my dishes.
Can I wash my dishes?
I just like, I don't know why, but like I hate washing the dishes. You can ask my boyfriend. I just like, I don't mind cleaning my apartment.
You procrastinate so hard. You're like, oh, I'll just do it after dinner.
You just have to do it straight away, otherwise.
Yeah. I'm just going to do it tomorrow. And then, I'll just do it tonight. And then it just like keeps stacking up and you're like, oh, fuck.
That's why it's good. Like my boyfriend's staying at mine at the moment and he's literally like my housewife. He like cleans up after.
Yeah, I can imagine him like being like cleaning straight after.
Yeah, because he has like OCD. So like he can't stand it when there's dirty stuff like laying around. So he does it straight away.
I understand though.
I understand as well. Like it's not like I'm dirty. It's just like I don't necessarily clean it straight away because a lot of times I like
you don't
do
see
stuff
the urgent like you don't see the urgency to
it kind of
clean.
stresses me sometimes because I'm like I just ate, I'm just going to digest, like you know what I mean, but he's just more like I ate, I'm going to clean now. Like sometimes I even want to get that cup again and like drink coffee out of it and he's like I cleaned it up already. I'm like mate, it's a waste of water, but no, it's I guess it's really nice that he does that. Anyways,
I wanted to say something but I totally forgot.
How's work? How's the new job? How's your tonsillitis?
Oh my God.
How's just everything?
So I'm tonsil free now. It sounds like I'm like I don't know. It's like, it just sounds like I'm sober or something.
Yeah.
I've been sober for 5 months. No, I'm tonsil free now. I actually yesterday was my 5-week anniversary.
Ooh,
I also told
crazy.
Clara, one of our friends, I was like, we should do like a weekly anniversary for my tonsils, like a party.
Oh my God. Well, they're gone. Rest in peace. Rip funeral.
I wish I would have seen them after the surgery.
Ew, no. I don't even know.
didn't.
Like, do you know what they look like? Is that a stupid
It's
thing
like
not to
it's
know?
like literally little like pieces of flesh.
Ew. Okay.
Super gross. But yeah, I actually got my tonsils out 5 weeks yesterday, Thursday. And I can finally say that I'm like properly healed now.
Nice.
Like it was like 2 weeks ago or about 3 weeks ago. So after, like 2 weeks after the surgery, it was so annoying because, okay, so really gross TMI. Straight after the surgery, they basically cut them out, and then your body, like, how do you say, they produce those like scabs, those like white scabs. You know when you have like a scab that where you hurt yourself, and then you shower, and then it turns white.
Yeah.
That's basically at the back of your throat.
Yeah, I think I saw it in your throat.
And it's like when I think about it, it's like I'm traumatized.
Yeah.
But because I obviously did like how do you say some research, but I didn't do as much research. And so basically straight after the surgery, I got those scabs, and like 2 days after the surgery, it was like the painkillers were like how do you say it was like not wearing off because I was still getting some, but like from the surgery and stuff. And then like third to fourth day, it's like the pain started. I've never felt this kind of pain before in my life. And then I was also like vomiting heaps because of the I was feeling nauseous from the
it hurts when you're
anesthesia.
And it hurts when you're vomiting as well, right?
And it, like the acid was like burning my throat. So I had those scabs, and it was like the grossest thing ever. I couldn't open my mouth properly because they like in surgery they like clamp your mouth open for like so long, and then your tongue as well. And my tongue, and like because everything's swollen and hurts, your tongue is also like swollen, and everything's swollen. You can't properly speak, open your mouth. I was like eating like this.
I know, I saw. She took like an hour to eat like a piece of bread.
Oh my God.
Or when you had the pasta and you couldn't like, I felt so sorry for you. She was like making pasta for like half an hour, and then she wanted to eat it, and then like something.
Yeah, it was like the week when I actually came home, like the girls like visited me a few days after, and they all like got Poke Bowls, and I loved them. And I was like, oh my God, don't be sad, it's fine. And then I like
But you made some pasta, so
yeah,
like,
I made some really yummy pasta, but it took me like an hour to eat it like properly. And the problem is that so from the third for anyone who wants to do a tonsillectomy, I can give you some tips.
She's like a tonsil expert.
I'm literally an expert now. But like third to fourth, the third and fourth day, as well as the sixth and seventh day is where, so basically the third day where the pain starts, and then the pain maximum is like for me was on the sixth day because that's where when you eat a lot, the scab falls off.
Okay.
In like the back of your throat, and then how do you say, like there's fresh skin like underneath, and it like fucking burns when you eat. And the problem is that straight after tonsillectomy, you have to eat and you have to drink, like, because then the scabs will get too thick and then they can get affected, which they did with me because I didn't eat anything. I couldn't eat like anything, and I was vomiting like chocolate pudding and ice cream. And so like it was so bad. And then
not the chocolate pudding.
Yeah, actually. And I was like, the first 2 days was fine to sleep, but then fourth day I was like, I didn't even sleep all night. I was in so much pain. I had to get painkillers like every 2 hours. And I was like just going there, and like some nurses were just not friendly at all. And I was just like, I just want to go home and I want to be in my bed.
Yeah.
And then on the fifth day, Monday, I got out, and then I went home. And then when that's when it started, like the scab started to be infected. So there's a lot of bacteria in your mouth, and there's like no possibility of like disinfecting it like skin, you know? So bacteria can get in there really easily. And then when it's infected, it's a really bad smell. So it's like you basically smell like rotten eggs out of your mouth. And it's the
going on dates, like, hello.
It's the grossest thing ever. And I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then everything I ate, everything I drank, it smelled.
You tasted it as well.
Yeah,
okay.
I tasted everything because it's like in the back of your throat.
Yeah, it's like when you're hungover and you had too much alcohol and you have like a weird taste in your mouth.
And because like there's like stuff in the back of your throat, like the scab getting really thick. I had like
everyone listening is just like
the gag reflex. So I felt like I had to vomit like the whole time. And then one time I actually spit out blood, which is really bad because that's like the sign of a hemorrhage. And I was like, oh my God. And like immediately put like an ice pack on my neck. And I was like, don't freak out. It's fine. And then it stopped, but it can get really dangerous. And you have to actually, when you start spitting out more than 1 liter of blood and like it's constant, then you have to go to the hospital. Because then
more liter than 1 liter.
Yeah, and it's really
weird Vampire Diaries.
It's really dangerous because people are like, "Oh, it's fine, it's going to stop," and then they just bleed out.
Oh my God!
And it can also get into like the airways, so in your lungs, and then you just die.
Okay, just don't get your tonsils out.
Anyways, and I was just by myself alone at home, so I was really scared, but it was fine. And then I went to the doctor straight, and she was like, "Oh my God, you need antibiotics, and you need to eat more. Like you need to eat." And every time because I'm a person who loves food.
Yeah.
I love cooking, but then in that period of time I like lost it completely. I couldn't eat. I was like eating like toast, and you can't eat a lot of stuff, obviously. And like every like swallowing every time was like, oh my God, okay, I'm going to swallow now. I'm going to swallow. And it was just so painful. And then I remember one night, I think like I said, 6th day, it was I think the worst thing I've ever felt in my life. It was like I woke up and my whole bed was wet because I was sweating. And then I was like it felt like someone was strangling me because it was so swollen, and I was in so much pain, and I started like immediately crying. And I was like, okay, I need to take a painkiller now. And like, the painkiller obviously takes time until it works. So those 20 minutes, I had like one ice pack in the front of my throat and in the back. And I was like, oh my God, you like just breathe. It's going to be fine. It was like 3 a.m. or something. And I was like, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. And then I just felt like, I was like, okay, like in that moment, I was like, I didn't even know what I was feeling because it was just so much, like I was delirious almost, there's actually this thing when you feel that much pain, people can actually faint. And then they get into this like really delirious state.
Where
and
you're just don't feel anything anymore. You're just like.
Yeah. Like when you basically almost black out. And I've almost felt that. I was like, I had to like, how do you say, hold myself on the sink. And I was like, don't black out. It's going to be fine.
Yeah.
But yes.
I got my tonsils out, guys.
Anyways. And then that actually was getting better. Like the pain was getting better. The scabs were falling off. And then 2 weeks after the surgery, it was just so weird. I looked into my mouth and I saw this like hole in my throat, in the back of my throat. And I was like, oh my God, there's a hole in my throat. And that's why every time I was drinking, it was coming out of my nose.
Oh,
And
what?
like I drank chocolate Oatly and it came out of my nose and I was like, oh my God.
Because you had a hole in your throat.
Yeah, and also because you know the little string in the middle, like in your the little thingy. It had like one of its tasks is to like control the swallowing process. So when it's really swollen, it can't do anything. So that's why food like and drink can go up, you know. And so it was super swollen.
Just
and I was
imagining you like in the kitchen.
and I was like, oh my God, chocolate Oatly. It was in my nose. And I blew my nose and it was like brown.
Ew. I mean, at least you kept the chocolate Oatly, you know?
Yeah, I know. And it was so sad because in the first days I couldn't taste anything. Like you can't taste it. So I was drinking my chocolate Oatly and I was like, I can't taste you. It's so sad.
I hate when that happens and you're just like, do I eat healthy then? And just like fully just eat like
I only could
disgusting
eat like white
things
bread and stuff, like legit. But I still lost like 6 or 7 kilos because I was just not eating.
I hope you're eating now.
I am slowly. But yes, and then the worst thing for me was my voice. Like speaking was so hard. I was like literally I had to like put up so much effort into like speaking as well. Like when I was around people and I wanted to chat with them, it was like, and
you could even feel
like
it. Like when I was talking to you, I could feel how it was like hurtful, like painful.
Yeah,
for
it was
you
so painful. And I was like, okay. And also like I actually went to the doctors a few times and it was like when I had to talk to him and I was like, oh my God, this is so difficult. But I'm back now. So it's just so great. Like the human
doesn't
body.
stop talking now. Podcast, here we come.
It actually, like, honestly, it made me realize how incredible, like, the body is. And, like, it, like, I don't know, it made me win so much more respect for my body because it was just, it went through all of that. It went through, like, a surgery, you know? And so it's just amazing. And, like, also, like, I don't know, the whole thing, like, it was really big and now, like, it's completely closed now. So I'm like, the body does all of that kind of stuff. And it's just so amazing.
Makes you appreciate also like eating and talking and like the simple things.
Like I still can't sometimes taste like, how do you say, like stuff properly. Like, but it's fine. Like I have to just put a lot of salt in it.
Oh my God, that's me. That's my life. I do that anyway.
But I'm so happy I have it behind me now. Like I was actually thinking in the I was having my shower thoughts and I was like, oh my God, like, I don't know, in January, like I was like, I had no idea what was coming for me. And I was like, I'm so happy. Like, and it's so weird when I look into my mouth, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm actually really, really happy. But I think like last Monday or this Monday was when everything just fell off me. It was like, you know, my tonsillectomy moving and everything was just.
You're done now.
Yeah.
Not
you're done now.
but
like you're like more relaxed now. Like you can be sick now, you know, when that sometimes happens when you're like under a lot of stress and then your body just it has so much adrenaline. Like you can't get sick, but when it just all falls off, it's like.
Yeah, you were like fight or flight.
Bacteria.
I mean, I guess.
Come to me.
Bacteria. And just in general, like thinking about your 2023 kind of started like hectic with everything, like the change.
I was like, 2023 is my year.
2023 and free. I mean, maybe it's going to still be your year, you know? It's like not a necessarily bad thing. It's just a lot of change.
A lot of stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff, yeah.
But changes, like we said in the episode that we recorded.
It's change is good.
I just came so
you
close.
Just went really close.
I know. I was like, change.
But oh my God. But yes, so I moved out, got my tonsils out, you know, releasing,
letting go. Just new human now. You're like, new start. Here I am.
But yeah, it feels good. It feels good.
Yeah, you're feeling good now.
Yeah, like
relieved.
I'm really like happy because like I finally got over my cold as well. And just slowly getting back into it, I guess.
Yeah, so now you're 2023 and free can start.
Yeah, it can start now.
Now, here I am.
So happy New Year, guys. But yes, so you've been traveling heaps, you said?
Yeah, well, traveling heaps. Like I went to Milan and Paris originally to see my sister, like in Milan. She lives in Milan. And then my friend Luna was like, I'm going to go to Paris. And I was like, oh, the flight from Milan to Paris or like the train or the flight are not that expensive. It's not that far away. So I was like, I'm going to visit my sister. But then she was visiting friends in Paris, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, I would love to go to Paris as well. I love Paris and I have some time. Don't necessarily have the money, which I realize now. But anyways, I just thought it would be fine. And then we also got a chance to create some content for a magazine during Fashion Week. And it was really exciting. It was all very like new. I knew it would be stressful because I was like combining work and content with like with myself and also with seeing friends and family, which I haven't seen in a while. So that's also like a lot of it's very time consuming and energy consuming. And I think I've just been like in Berlin lately, like really had my routine. I've just been chilling. It was winter. Like you don't go out as much as you do in summer. Like it's in general, not many social activities. So I had to get back into the flow. And I tried to prepare for that, but I think you can't really prepare for that. Yeah. And it was really, really fun. And I learned a lot about myself and the fashion industry and just in general, like, I feel like I reflected a lot in that time, or like now that I'm back, but it also was very stressful. Like, I'm not going to lie, it was very stressful. Like, I don't know how people like influencers, celebrities, like people who work in the fashion industry, how they like do that. Cause like you see that and you think, oh, like it's not a big deal, but like it's actually so stressful. I didn't even go to that many shows, but it's like the whole things that you don't see, how many paparazzis there are, how you have to get ready like every single day, like you have to socialize. It's like, it's not obviously like the worst thing in the world. And I'm so grateful that I got that experience and I was so happy to be there. It's not that I met so many great people and stuff, but I do understand now where that stress comes from or why people say it's stressful. Still, it's obviously voluntarily. Like if you don't want to go, you don't have to go. Like it's still a fun experience, but I realized a lot of things. And I think Luna, the friend that I went with, and I had some experiences where we were like, okay, like.
What kind of experience?
Well,
share with us.
So, like I said, I can go back to the reflecting part as well. But I, as a person who loves the fashion industry, but is trying to be more like in the conscious, like fashion industry, loves vintage fashion, or like, and I think in general in Berlin, there's a big community for that. Like people who do like upcycling or sustainable fashion. I think our friends or like people that we know are more in the industry. And also going to Berlin Fashion Week, I saw a lot of small brands like establishing that more like also like more inclusivity, more diversity. Like obviously there's still a lot that needs to be changed, but comparing it now, like Berlin Fashion Week to Milan and Paris Fashion Week, I saw that Berlin is actually very forward thinking and like it was way less stressful and it was a very nice environment and an environment that actually was about fashion and the art itself. And that celebrates like all genders, all sizes, and like, yeah, the art of making fashion. Whereas Milan and Paris, I mean, it's obviously one of the biggest fashion weeks, but it felt very corporate. It felt very like, we're just here to make money. It felt very like status, like who's here, who sits front row. Are you going to that show? Like, and like every like big shows that we went to, like we didn't go to all of the shows, but we went there to like take street style videos of the people wearing outfits. It was a circus. Like my sister said, it's a circus, and it was like a circus. There's like Botox people everywhere. There's like celebrities thinking they're the shit, and then there's bodyguards, and then everyone's like running and screaming. It was so stressful, and I was like, what am I actually running for? Like I was trying to take outfit videos of people, but then everyone was running to that one person, and it's like this whole like group dynamic of like, I have to run now. I have to take videos of this girl, but I didn't know who that girl was.
Yeah, why because everyone is going there. You like
and everyone behind me, like the street photographers as well, they didn't even know who that person is. Like when you asked her, like I have no idea, but everyone's running and taking videos. And I didn't even like her outfit. I was like, why am I filming her? It felt like I was a paparazzi, and it made me feel really bad. And I was like, that's not what I want to do. Like I don't want to run after some person I don't know and like cheering her up. Like she's also just a human. Anyways, but that was just the big shows like Dior and all this, like Gucci, all these shows. And it was definitely an interesting experience, like how stressful it is. Like Luna and I, we like were there to take photos, and we got out of this Uber because they had taken Uber because we were super late and it was super far out. And because it was a black Uber, I think people thought we were like some kind of celebrity or something. So we get out of the car. I'd never been to like any of those shows, so I didn't know what to experience. I've only been to Berlin Fashion Week, where it's very different. It's like, I think it was Gucci. And I got out, and there's like all these photographers just like storming at you, like taking photos. And I was like, Luna, like I was so overwhelmed. And then they asked for your Instagram. I'm like, I'm not a celebrity, but like what's going on? And most of the people there looked horrendous. Like most people looked like they had just like heaps of work done. And actually the people like working there, like either the people working at the door or the street photographers,
They're nice.
They're super nice and they have way better style because they actually care about fashion. Whereas like a lot of people going to those big shows are just celebrities who get paid to go there.
I
like,
hate that. And they don't have any sense of fashion or anything.
and
just go there. So yeah.
And it made me realize that, which is, I think, a good realization in the sense that it's good to understand more of the fashion industry and that there's different sides to it and understand how it works. But it's also sad to see because I thought, okay, I don't know, where's like the love for making fashion shows? And like, it's all very like I said, very money making, very status, who sits where, who sits front row. It's anxiety inducing as well when you talk to people and they're like, which show are you going to? And I constantly felt like, I have to socialize, I have to network, I have to be there. Am I at the right spot? Instead of being grateful where I was for that experience, I felt like everyone was just like trying to get something from each other. And I don't know, like I knew that Paris and Milan Fashion Week are also very traditional fashion weeks. I knew that there's still a lot of like skinny models and like all that's like I knew that, but also seeing it made me realize how backward thinking some fashion brands are. Like not all of them, like I said, a lot of them are doing good stuff. There's a lot of small brands who are coming out, young designers who are doing great stuff. I don't want to undermine that, but there's still a lot of big shows that are putting stuff out where I'm like, I don't necessarily condone that. Like I don't think every model should be like skinny and looks like they're just going to die on the runway every second. Like that one show we went to, I don't want to say the name, but like it was a beautiful show. It was the fashion was amazing. But the models looked like they were 12 years old and like literally are going to die because they took like, I don't know what they took, but they looked like dead people. And that was the aesthetic of the show. And I thought, oh, okay, I guess that's fashion, but also like, why? Like that's not necessarily what I think fashion should be like. And I think when I talked to people, everyone thought the same thing, but then people were just like, oh, that's just high fashion. But I think it made me realize that that's not how it can be and that's not how it should be. And yeah, it just, like I said, made me realize a lot about the industry, made me realize where I want to find my place in that industry, that I don't necessarily need to be going to Fashion Week or need to be like with those high fashion brands. You can still work in fashion, but like maybe find a different part or try to change that approach. But like Copenhagen Fashion Week as well is doing a lot of great stuff towards that. But it's just, yeah, you see a lot of things like all these events as well. There was one experience in particular with like me and Luna, and it was in Milan. And it's like these like promoter events, like these model promoter events. Like you already know it's kind of like rich guys trying to get hot girls.
Oh my God, I think I know that story.
Do you know that story?
In the club?
Yeah.
With the guy?
Yeah.
That gave Luna money?
Yeah. It was like looking back now, it was funny in the moment.
Up.
But like looking back now, it's like pretty fucked up. Like, you know, promoters who are like people who work at clubs, they get like pretty models or like girls to come to their clubs and you get everything for free. So that that promoter club culture is very big in Milan in general. And then also during Fashion Week in Paris as well. It's like this thing like, yeah, you just get in for free. So then you just hang out with these old guys who like sponsor everything. Yeah. So I didn't really know, like my sister was like, oh, let's go to this club in Milan. And I was like, whatever, like I'm happy to go to a club. I wanted to go out with my sister and my friends. And yeah, it was like heaps of cool girls, like the friends of my sister. And we're like in this club, can't remember the name. We're in the DJ booth. And there's like these old, gross men, like a man bun. And they were like, yeah. Sweaty, and they were just like not nice. But I didn't actually notice them. I didn't talk to them or anything. They were just in the same room as me, basically. But it's not even like it happens a lot. But then this guy just like comes up to me. He was super drunk, and I thought he wanted to talk to me. Like, you know, in Milan and Paris, you say like hi by like kissing on the cheeks. So I thought he wanted to like just say hi or kiss me on the cheeks. But then he like tried to kiss me, and I was like, what the fuck, get off me. And he was like stumbling because he was like so drunk, and he was like, oh, I don't know. It was like so gross. I was like, what the fuck just happened? And then my friend Luna comes up to me. He's like, oh my God, that guy just gave me 500 euros. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah. And she was like, yeah, he thought I was a prostitute. I was like, that's fucked up. Did you take the 500 euros? And then she was like, no, I gave it away. And at first I thought, okay, that would be my first instinct as well. But then it's kind of like, should I take the 500 euros? And now you sexually harassed me. So now I'm going to take the 500 euros as well. But I think, yeah, and it was so weird. And he kept coming up to us. But then the security guy kind of realized and like wanted to kick him out or like put an eye on us. But it's like, he kept going up to other girls, giving them money, being like, do you want to come to my room? Like stuff like that. And most girls just took the money because it's so normalized that this stuff is happening. And it's not even like it's not even like the only guy that's doing that. I'm sure there's like more models who have to keep up with that like every single party they go to. And that's still happening. I also knew that this is happening. Like I'm not oblivious, but like actually like feeling it firsthand, seeing it firsthand made me go back to that space of like, oh yeah, this is still happening and this is fucked up. We shouldn't support this. This is not normal. And it made me feel really shit about myself because I'm like, yes, it's their fault, but I'm also just here like and thinking this is like at the beginning I didn't think it was like obviously I thought it was bad, but then I just kept partying. And then like the next day I was like, this is actually really fucked up. Like how is this so normalized that I not like, you know, that like girls are just taking their money and that's like, oh, it's normal. It's just promoter parties. Like, you know what I mean?
But
like
that's not.
It's not normal. It's
No.
also, I think, because it doesn't happen in Berlin that much. Like it probably still does, but like there's not the promoter culture is not really big here. I think it's such a different party culture that like
Absolutely.
you don't really see it anymore. And then when you see it, it's like, oh my God, this is like fucked up. And like in general, how models are treated at Fashion Week. And there's just a lot of stuff that goes on in the background that we don't see. And then when you like hear about it or see it firsthand, it like makes you realize how much shit is going on, not just in the fashion industry, but I think in general, like just privileged industry. Yeah, like in the world. I don't know, maybe that's like a deep thought, but I just had all these thoughts while I was there at Fashion Week. And also, like I said, realizations about myself, where I want to be.
Where do you want to be?
Well, I don't know. That's a good question. But I know that it's not like I don't support Fashion Week. I support the art of making fashion and I support that there's shows that display fashion, but I think it should go back to that state of like, we are showing fashion and this is
now it's just about celebrities.
Yeah. And people are trying to get in. It's like the status thing. And I don't know how you can undo that. But I think because when we were creating content for that magazine, we started doing interviews at Fashion Week, but we realized that a lot of people there had just nothing to say, to be honest. So then we went to a fashion school in Paris. It's called IFM. And we went there to interview fashion students. And they actually all had like amazing opinions. They were like, when you asked about the future of fashion and where they think the future of fashion is, they were like upcycling, like follow small brands, young designers, vintage, like secondhand. They all had amazing points of views that I can see myself in as well. So it made me realize that the future generation of fashion has these thoughts of inclusivity, like all genders, all sizes, all ethnicities, like not just skinny white models and like one Asian model that's like walking down the runway. Like they all share the same values. I think it's more just like that, like a lot of those bigger brands are still very like traditional in the sense that they still have a lot of older people leading the company. Yeah. So I think what it is just like the new generation has to come and share those ideas and like try to establish them more. And that's why I say like Copenhagen Fashion Week and Berlin Fashion Week, you can really see that that's possible. And that there's a lot of more like fashion shows about like upcycling and like a lot of vintage fashion shows as well. Like it's out there. The mindset is there. I think we establish that mindset, especially in younger people. But I think it's just about like giving those people a voice and an opportunity to lead a brand. So that's what like those fashion students were saying. They want to work more for smaller brands because they have more chances of actually doing something. Whereas when you're interning for a big brand, a lot of times you're just getting the coffee. You don't really have a power to change the designs or the show or anything. You don't really have much to say. And like I don't want to be a designer or anything, but it's still like I love vintage fashion. I love, like I said, fashion and like the history of fashion and la la la. But yeah, it really showed me that I don't want to be necessarily working for a big brand or a high fashion brand, which I didn't think in the first place, but it really made me think about, okay, maybe I should be more conscious next time of like, where do I actually want to be? Who do I support? What do I support? So it was a big learning experience that maybe I shouldn't just go and support everything that I see, but maybe reflect more next time that I don't have to go to this show or that show or film that person or talk to that person in order to be someone or like become something, or like I'm not a failure if I don't network, or I'm not a failure if I don't go to that event. Like it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter in the end. And it gave me a lot of like FOMO because I felt like I should have done this or go to that, because there's so many fucking events that you can go to. You just burn out at the end. Like at the end of the fashion week, I was like, I just want to eat chips and lay in bed and watch like a reality show and not think about fashion, which was super sad because I feel like it shouldn't ruin your thought about fashion. I don't think, like I said, Berlin Fashion Week really inspired me, and I was like, oh my God, I want to go do more of this. Like this is inspiring. This is cool. I love fashion. Like this is amazing. But then, going into environment where I feel like fashion wasn't
in the first place.
It wasn't like the priority, I feel like, of the fashion shows, at least in my opinion. I felt like the priority was being seen, who's there, who's what, who's like all these celebrities, like who's wearing what, who says what, like not every brand, like I said, I'm not like undermining all that work that goes into all these shows. And like I said, it's still amazing and I was still super grateful to be there. But I did realize and see how some companies, brands, shows, I don't know, they kind of lost the original meaning. And a girl that I interviewed said a really interesting thing. She said that like she thinks once the original designer of a brand is dead, they shouldn't continue with a new designer, like continue on that brand. Like if the designer is dead, the brand should be dead.
Yeah.
And I thought that's actually a good point. Like why do we need to still live on with that brand, and why there's so many brands out there. I'm like, why is there so many brands? Like we don't need all these clothes and these brands and like designers, and like maybe give the spot to a new person with a new point of view and just let it be. It's kind of like making a remake of a movie. Like maybe just let that old movie be and don't always remake everything.
Yeah, no.
Anyways, so now I was just yarning, but that's just what I realized and what I saw, and I wanted to share that as well because if you feel like you were sitting at home and missed Fashion Week, it's not that big of a deal. Like if you love fashion, you don't like, it's a good thing to network, but you don't have to go to Fashion Week in order to work in the fashion industry, or you don't have to network. Like just do your thing, do what you're passionate about, and you'll eventually get there. And if you get the chance to show something at Fashion Week, do it the right way and do what you think is right and not what makes the most money or like gets the most attention, you know, I think,
Preach.
End of the story, end of discussion. Everyone who like works in the fashion industry, if someone's listening to this, they're probably like, oh my God, we're never going to invite her. Well, it's okay. I'm fine. I'm just traumatized. Should have taken the 500 euros.
I can't believe that happened. That's insane.
Yeah, and I was like, why did he have like 1,000 euros of cash just in his pocket? Like
people are fucking weird.
Yeah,
just men.
I know. It's like
I'm not generalizing here. Yeah, just this very specific type of men.
Yeah. I was having a discussion with my boyfriend before this because he was like, you can't label that it's just men, and I was like, no, there's probably also like women out there. It's just my own experiences have been with men, so I'm just putting that out there. There's probably also women who do fucked up shit, so I don't want to label it. But in that experience, it was a man.
We're just speaking from our experiences.
Yes, from our experiences. So I guess it's really hard to just be.
Oh yeah, like.
Yeah, I think it's hard for me to be objective because
it's happened to you so closely as well. So it's like
to every woman, I feel like it happens to. And like if you look at men in history, it's always been like Les Wexner, Jeffrey Epstein. It's always been men. So I think people are just like prone to see that it's men. But like obviously, there's a lot of fucked up people out there. We don't want to just label men just from our own experience. People. Just people. There's a lot of fucked up people out there who have too much money and too much power, and they're misusing their power.
I feel like people are just so power hungry, and I don't like that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And that's really like a lot of industries it just shows.
And I think like a lot of industries, or just in general, like a lot of things nowadays, they kind of activate the ego in a lot of human beings. So it's like I would say fashion industry, or just in general businesses, like business and stuff. And it just like people just go through life just kind of having their egos just, how do you say, having a hold of them, and they don't really realize, you know, like, a lot of people are not conscious of the fact that there's an ego in their brain, and that, you know, that it says like, oh, you are what you have, you are money, like you always have to be the winner, and there are winners and losers. But like, who made that up? Like, and, you know, like, no, it's not like that. And I think a lot of people are just ego driven, and they're just.
I think you think it makes you like happy. It's like all these external things that make you happy, and obviously some of it does, but it doesn't make you it doesn't make you joyous. It doesn't make you a happy person in the long run, like just for a fleeting moment. And I think just seeing that, like partying in clubs with like celebrities that like I've watched before and thinking that would be like so cool, but actually realizing it doesn't matter because they're also just human beings, or like stuff like that made me realize it's cool, and I'm grateful to be there. but like I shouldn't depend my happiness on that or think that that's where you want to be in life. Like, oh my God, you made it because you sat front row at Fashion Week. No, like, you didn't make
like,
it.
This is just a materialistic thing. You sit there and like, I don't know, because I had a lot of time thinking to myself in the past weeks. And yesterday actually made me really, really sad. I was on the train and there was this guy, like a homeless person, and he was like asking for money. And then, and it just made me so sad because I was like on my way home to my apartment, to my warm apartment that has heating, that has water, I can shower. I was with my family beforehand. We were having dinner. Like you could eat as much as you want. And then there's people out there that don't have anything. And like, you know, like, and I think we should just all be grateful for this and make our like happiness dependent on all those little things in life instead of just, because now I feel like the big picture is like you have to be happy. You have to have to be happy, you have to have a lot of money. You have to make all of those achievements. Like, where did this all come from? Like this, obviously it's good to be driven and have motivation and ambitions and stuff, but like the goals that have been set up for human beings is like obviously sometimes unattainable, and when you don't attain them you feel like you fucked up and then you're a failure. It's also funny because like what you said, like if you think about people that like we all like maybe envy or like we see as these like huge celebrities, like for example Leonardo DiCaprio, my sister went out with him, like she went out to a club with him, and she said it was so sad because he was just sitting there all night by himself with all the security guards around him, just smoking like a pack of cigarettes, not talking to anyone. He was wearing a Corona mask because he didn't want anyone to see him because there's paparazzi everywhere. And I was just like, why do you even bother going out? Like I would hate to just sit there, watch people like dance and have fun.
Yeah.
And I myself am not having fun. Like, that's so fucked up.
And you would think, oh my God, he must be so happy because he like is such a big celebrity. No, I think he's actually like, I don't want to put words in his mouth. Maybe he's super happy. But from what my sister told me, he looked miserable. And I was like, I'm sorry for this guy. Like, I don't want to be there. And I think
I'm happy that I'm not a celebrity. Like, I'm happy that I'm not famous.
Yeah.
You know? Like I can just live my own happy life.
I mean, I guess he didn't want to like be a celebrity. I think he just was good at acting and then just became a big actor. Like, you know what I mean? Like sometimes fame just comes with it.
That's true. Yeah.
But I think nowadays there's a lot of people who are striving so much for this,
famous.
Like, and you see it at Fashion Week. It was like so embarrassing. Like some women that I saw like over and over again, like Luna and I were like recognizing them. They were at every show. They weren't invited to any of those shows. And sometimes like these photographers come up to like people who were invited and like, quote unquote, ask someone and try to take photos of them. And then these women just pushed into the photo and were like posing because they wanted them to take photos of them. So they like are published somewhere. And I was like, you're literally taking the spot of someone else who maybe worked for this spot in order to push yourself there to get a photo taken of you. That's sad. Like I understand fake it till you make it and I understand the work ethic, but don't take someone else's spot and push yourself in there just because you think you deserve it more or you need to be someone or need to be seen. Like I just felt sorry for these people because I was like, you're on the wrong path and I don't want to end up on that path. And I'm happy I had that realization while I was there that like, I love fashion and fashion makes me happy. It's a passion of mine. And yeah, I don't need to condone those things or like go to these things in order to, like I said, work in the fashion industry, and just realizing that and knowing that I don't have to do all these things or be at this event or talk to these people and and I think we should speak up more about like the realities of Fashion Week. Maybe that's just my experience. And like I said, maybe that's just Paris and Milan. Like Berlin Fashion Week was amazing. I met a lot of inspiring people, but so maybe it was also just this year, which I don't think so, but you know.
I think it's just the general is already like always there. Like
like what you said, the ego thing, I think that's in every industry, like movie industry, like every industry that has to do with like the publicity, I think it can turn really both ways where you forget the art behind acting, movie making, and just think about the numbers. And,
fame,
Yeah, fame. So that's a lot of those industries, I guess. But yeah.
Let's just all move into the bush and just...
No, like I still had an amazing time and I love Paris. Like, oh my God, those almond croissants I had there. Mm-hmm. And like, I don't know, it's just like every time I go to Paris, it's like, it's such a beautiful city. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm romanticizing it too much, but...
You're having your Emily in Paris moment.
I was having an Emily in Paris moment.
I guess like obviously Paris is a beautiful city and like almond croissants are delicious, but I think just the reality of actually living there can be quite different.
Yeah, no,
well.
definitely. I think it's also funny when you're like in that world of like Fashion Week. I think everyone that gets to Fashion Week is like in their own bubble. And then you like worry about which event to go to, where to go. You're stressing, you're running around the whole time. And you're like, oh my God, these shoes, these outfits. And then like sometimes I stopped myself and I was like, what am I actually worrying about right now? What am I stressing about now? Does it matter? And then you look around yourself and you see families, you see moms with their kids, you see homeless people, you see people who actually like have such a different reality in life right now, which is in general like can happen because you're always in a different problem bubble, problem situation in your life. But then I just turned around and I was like, these people don't even give a single thought about what you're worrying about right now because it doesn't really matter. And it just kind of gave me this reality check of like, I shouldn't stress because like whatever happens, it's not like I'm not going to die, you know? Yeah. So that's just all I have to say. You know what I mean? It's like when you have like all these worries in your head and then something really bad happens that you actually like realize all these other worries didn't really matter.
It's always like that.
Yeah. So I think when I see mums with like children, for example, I always think, oh my God, they must have like so much more stress than me because they're raising a kid.
Legit. There's like an actual reason to be stressed.
Yeah.
You know, you're like caring for another human being.
Yeah.
And like,
yeah. And I know that maybe one day I'll be there too. So then I'll probably laugh about like situations.
That being in Paris this one day.
It was still like super fun and like really inspiring in a way as well. But like I also am happy for that learning experience. And that's why I just wanted to share that because I think a lot of people have the wrong image of Fashion Week or sitting at home thinking
they
like
put it on this pedestal.
Yeah. And like I said, there's a lot of cool stuff going on. There's a lot of cool brands, small brands that are coming up, which I'm really excited to see. But if you're just there to make money and like in general, if you maybe own a fashion brand listening to this, please don't always just get skinny models on that look like they're literally dying on the, like one friend of mine was telling me that they met this model and they went to dinner together. Like this is also very cliche. I'm not saying every model is like this. I'm just saying that's one story that I've heard. And she was like on an all water diet for Fashion Week. And like I said, that's not the normal term. Like I know my sister was modeling and she never did that, or like Milan. And I think Berlin is also different, but like Paris is like so high fashion that you have to be so on point that some people do these kind of diets. And it's just insane to me. I'm like, I would be so hangry. I would be screaming at every single
I haven't had breakfast today and I'm like dying right now.
Yeah, like I think that's, I mean, if you do like an all water diet in the sense of like you want to cleanse yourself and you're doing it on a spiritual level, you're laying in bed, you do it like, you know how people do that as like a method to like cleanse themselves?
Yeah.
That's a different thing. But if you fucking walking shows in high heels, walking around all day from casting to casting and you only drinking water, girl, like you better not talk to me if I was that person. Like,
oh, that's fucked up.
Yeah. Anyways,
that's so sad that this exists. You know,
I know.
Like I don't know, human beings weren't made to do that.
You also think that like a lot of the fashion industry has changed, which a lot of it has changed, but like you still hear those stories and you're like, seriously, like. It's 2023. Like I thought that was a thing of yesterday, but
no. But I think that like the fashion aesthetic will live on for a long, long time. You know, like obviously like that hasn't kind of
worn off, like
gone into some designers' heads and like people's heads. They still live this very.
I think it has gone in some heads. What I've heard from some friends of us who are designers and they actually work like in an upcycling company like that does like upcycling fashion. They are very well aware of it, but like when you, for example, crochet stuff, it's sometimes really hard to like fit the size, or like sometimes it's really hard to make different sizes because it's very expensive, which is an issue. But I understand where they're coming from. They're trying to explain why there's only like sometimes little sizes, but I think there's ways around it. Like there's this brand, Olivia Ballard, she had a fashion show in Berlin and she does like really stretchy clothes that everyone fits in, and her theme is kind of like the clothes have to fit the person, not the person has to fit the clothes. And she did amazing fashion and she showed that like it's possible to make like an all size thing, because I think also nowadays it's this mindset of like either super skinny or like super plus heavy, size. And it's like I've never seen a person my body been represented on the runway, which I know everybody is different and everybody has their own, like you can't just have one body type in general, but like I think there should be more representation of like in between like normal sizes, not always the extremes, you know? And I think that's something I would love to see more on the runway if possible. And I think the big brands can tell me they don't have the money to get more designers on to do that, you know? I'm sorry, I'm not buying that. So
you're lying.
Like if you're a small brand and you like are financing yourself and crocheting and stuff, I fully understand that. But like if you're like a big brand, I'm sorry, like no. It's just like you simply just don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, venting a little bit over here.
Yeah, it's like fuck tonsils. No, I don't want to say fuck Fashion Week because, like I said, it was still an amazing experience.
Yeah.
And I went there voluntarily. So, but yeah, I hope someone can take something away from this.
Me too.
Maybe if it makes you feel better, maybe it makes you feel worse. I hope the first thing, but yeah.
Anyways,
that was our little life update. We're back. Recording now.
Track, yes.
New
finally.
location.
Yes.
You're healthy. I'm more chilled. Back in Berlin.
Let's do this. Anyways, we still don't know how to finish an episode.
No.
But yes, anyways, we hope you liked that, and we hope you like that. Oh my God. Anyways, so we're very excited to be back. Definitely having some interviews.
New ideas
in the queue as well, some ideas, and always if you have any ideas for us, you can let us know. I'm doing the TikTok.
Maybe that's my gem of the week, seeing your TikToks. I'm like, yes, girl.
No, because like we had one before, but I was like, I sort of need a fresh start. Like I can't work with this right now because it's like.
You just needed a complete fresh start.
I did.
You're like,
I did.
Throwing everything out.
And I think I might delete the old one. I don't know.
Oh, is it still there?
Yeah, it is still there because I don't know how to delete one. But
I can maybe do it because I think I can look into it.
Yeah,
but
the new one's going pretty well. You can follow us on TikTok.
Yes.
I post every day.
Yeah,
and
you've been like throwing them out. I have to like get back on like the filming myself scheme. I was just like the last 2 days I was like, I can't put on makeup. I just need to cleanse myself.
Yeah, no, definitely. After all the croissants.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
But yes, anyways, we will see you in the next episode, and
hope you have a beautiful day.
Yes.
And lots of kisses.
Bye.